so excited about our guests today. They are Shanda Sumpter and Ash. I should have asked you how to say your last name.
Kandahari.
Kandahari.
Kandahari. Awesome. I love it. Thank you guys so much for being here. I'd love for you to start by just telling us a little bit about yourselves and your family.
Gosh, that's a big question. We have a son who is turning 6 this month. And I think we kind of did everything backwards. We met and we were both looking he was looking for his wife. I was looking for my husband. We were super clear. I broke all the molds inside my head around, don't tell them that you're looking for a husband. That's like the worst advice that anybody has ever given any young ladies in the world, because I think I spent a lot of time trying to be like what a guy wanted versus just be honest about what I wanted so that I could meet a guy that was looking for the same thing. And I think you could probably say women, like, I think that women often like portray something different than what they actually want to, right?
Yep, absolutely.
So we met on Tinder, and we met on Tinder. My girlfriend actually met him first, and she's in the dating world. And she said, I met your husband, and she had to convince me to get on the app. And I got on the app, and this is kind of the fast version of it. And he stood me up. The first date. And thank God I had a dating coach, because the dating coach taught me how to not be a B, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like I'm out, bye, you know what I mean? And so I just I was practice dating. And so I wasn't putting any pressure on if any of the guys had to be my husband. So I was just seeing which ones that I actually really connected with. What I realized is that when you open up like that, there's actually a lot of really great men in the world. And so then he took me off.
But only one great woman.
That's right. He took me off the market. No, I think it's a great message. It's a great message for girls to hear and guys to hear, because there's a lot of people who are looking for what you're looking for, and we both wanted a spouse, and we wanted to move forward on creating our family. And, and the way we were dating before that didn't work, it wasn't creating what we wanted. And so I think being clear about what you want and not being afraid to say that and admit that, it's no different than building a business. You're actually qualifying leads.
I love it. I love that connection. Well, there's so much I love about the two of you, your business and how you help others create businesses and produce better entrepreneurs. And I'm excited to dig into that. But I noticed that in your marketing, you use the word passionate a lot when you describe entrepreneurs. And I do too. That's my favorite word, is passionate.
I didn't know I did that. I actually didn't know that I did that. Like, I do?
Yeah.
Well, it's on your page. I just noticed, because it's my favorite word, passionate. So I just was wondering if you wanted to talk about what passionate entrepreneur means to you.
Yeah. So I actually watched a great video with Christine Kane this morning that talked about the difference between hype and passion. Ooh. And there's a lot of hype in this world, and people think that's passion. And that's why they get so disappointed when they don't feel that hype anymore. Yeah. Because passion is very different. Like passion walks through hard. Passion has moments of feeling amazing and totally on point. But hype makes you feel like you were called to this moment. But the truth is that when you don't feel the hype anymore, you think that, oh, I'm not feeling it anymore. And so a lot of people are jumping from commitment to commitment to commitment, because they're actually thinking the hype is the passion. So passion has depth. It's like in a marriage, it's like, do we have the same values? Are we committed to those values? And are we committed to working through when those values are off? And if we are, I think we're in a good place. If we're not, I think you're in a really, really rocky place.
Yeah. For me, passion is, the energy of passion. I mean, you hear the word of the passion is like, this has a level of energy with it, which I wouldn't have never understood if it wasn't for my wife. I'll say that, because my wife has taught me that energy really matters and passion truly matters. And she lives that. And I think that's why you attract so many passion-driven entrepreneurs and purpose-driven entrepreneurs, because you actually are that person. So And I really respect that and honor you for that. So passion to me is the energy. And I think that energy, when you are passion, your passion shows up, you'll walk through those obstacles. You'll walk through those resistance. You'll walk through those walls because you're choosing the level of passion versus becoming versus becoming a byproduct of what's the environment's got for you. So
Yeah.
that's what I see. So I
Yeah.
echo the same thing, just
Yeah.
differently. Yeah, we say
We
the same thing, just
all
differently.
often.
I love it.
Which
I
is a
love it.
whole other thing, learning how to interpret the we're doing a devotional right now that we need to be more on.
I get that.
And it talks about how men see through blue lenses and women see through pink. And what that means is, like, if a woman goes into her closet and says, I have nothing to wear, she's actually saying, I actually literally have nothing to wear. I need new clothes. And if a guy says,
you have a full closet, are you kidding
the
me?
guys say, I have nothing to wear, they actually are meaning nothing's clean. You know what I mean?
I don't think a guy ever says I have to wear. I think they go, oh, you know what? These underwears have like holes. They're fine. I'll wear these.
No, that's kidding. Not true. The book talks about that, and it's out of a devotional that we're reading, and it's powerful because of it's true. When you say I have nothing to wear, it's because of the fact that literally everything's in the laundry.
Yeah,
right?
It's not functionally available.
It's not. Yeah, you don't have enough underwear or something. It's not actually like clean.
Yeah, it's not functionally available.
And I think it's important to know that, like, when it comes to, like, anytime women and men are communicating or partnering on anything, business, love, parenting, whatever, that we are often saying the same thing, but we're just looking through different panes of glass.
Yeah, I love that so much. So I also absolutely love what you guys do for entrepreneurs and business owners and how you support them in every way. But what I do, my passion is helping entrepreneurs stay happily married so that they can change the world with their passion, just like we were just talking about. So they're bonded together and they can take on those challenges as a team.
You just read something about that, about partners in marriage.
Oh, yeah. I don't want to.
Do you want to share?
Yeah, sure, of course. Yeah, one of the things I discovered recently is, like, actually married couples who are in business tend to do much better than separated couples. Separated.
They make more money.
The singles, yeah, they make more money. They actually do much better financially, and they serve versus
meaning
the ones
couples that have businesses together.
Yeah, couples that have businesses together. I think there's also a stat that isn't.
Yeah, there's a stat on the stat is actually for married couples tend to do better financially versus those that are separated. So they tend to, because when one's not doing well, the other's able to support and nurture and serve them, versus being alone, which is this whole conversation of, like, being a pack, being one, being a family, versus being alone and a lone wolf, which tends to not serve you as much. So
biblically, they say when you get married, you share the same flesh, right? Yeah. And if people really got that, it's like, if you're sharing the same flesh, it also says, like, it talks about men, especially, like, that men, like, they go from their parents, their mom and their dad and that family, and they leave that family and they lead their own family, and you're to separate from your mom and dad and put your priority on your new family to minister that next generation and become one flesh. And there's power in that, but I think there's a challenge to become one flesh, right? There's trust issues, there's trauma issues, there's, at least for me, every man in my life always disappointed me, like, never showed up, you know what I mean? And so there's so much of that goes into both. I mean, I actually think that, at least in the rooms I sit in with some of the most successful entrepreneurs in the world, sit in my masterminds, and the addiction, like, to, like, work, to porn, to alcohol, to drugs, to sex, not sex. Well, I guess it is sex trafficking, like hookers, is extraordinarily high, because a lot of times I'm not saying everybody has to have trauma, but, like, there is something to be said for a lot of entrepreneurs are running away from something. Now, we need entrepreneurs in the world. We are who create jobs for people. Like, it's necessary, but I think the power of a really great marriage, or the opportunity of a really great marriage, if you can be empathetic enough to hear each other and to really commit to each other and the business is fueling your future life versus now the solo, what's my passion? Like, that isn't as important. I really don't think, like, I'm looking right now and I'm like, I keep saying to him, I go, I got about another 5 years that I'm going to run hard. And I'm just not going to run hard anymore. And so as a woman, I'm really connected to that. Do you know what I mean? Like, so it's like, whether he's on board or not, I'm going to make sure that I and my family, my one flesh, is taken care of. And you're either a part of it or you're not a part of it, or you're a little bit of a part of it. But I'm doing it because in my head, I'm not that I'm ever going to quit working, but I'm not going to work at this speed. Like, I'm looking for an exit, meaning one of the companies to be built and sold. I'm looking to contribute to God's kingdom. You know what I mean? Like, I am like it's actually all, like, my whole life is all about other people. It's all about him. It's all about our kids. It's all about, God. It, like, not one part of it. Like, when I started, it was about my passion. And not one part of it is about that anymore, because I'm living a bigger life than me, and I wish that for everyone, because the confusion and the self-worth and all the stuff that comes up when you're still like, what's my passion? What's my passion? It's like, get past that as quick as possible. Like, what's my contribution? And if you're married, you have a contribution much bigger than your effing passion. You know what I mean? And I love passion. It's big, but the passion gets to be this.
Yeah.
Not like, because you know what? Truth, make so much money together that you can go write every book you want until you're 90 years old. Do you know what I mean? Make enough money so that you can, you want to go start random other things like podcasts and things like that around, like, things that you care about. Guess what? You can go do all of that, but make sure the family unit is taken care of. And men, if you want respect from your wives, start thinking like that, because they're watching the choices that you're making. And if the choices don't line up with that, she's never going to feel safe enough to rest into you.
Yes, I love that. And that's really what I wanted to talk to you guys about, because I see you working together. I see you building not only this business, but your life together. And so I thought it would be really helpful to my entrepreneurs, to my entrepreneurial couples, specifically building businesses together, to hear your story. And, like, what has been the biggest challenge you've had to overcome working, living, parenting, and loving, and all the things together?
I think there's been a lot of challenges.
What's your biggest one?
Well, I mean, the biggest one for me was, as a man, like, listen, I came into the business. It wasn't like I started the business with Shanda. So Shanda had started a business. And in 2016, I left the business, started another journey, and then joined the business about a year later.
He left his career, started a business, and then came into
the business. Yeah. And that was a journey, especially for men. I think there are men out there that join very powerful women today. And I think they're going to be struggling with this conversation, because.
And I think it's going to be a bigger and bigger conversation.
It's only going to be a bigger conversation. It's only going to amplify, because women today are living out very powerfully and have been holding back for so long. Yeah. And so that's only going to amplify. And men have been living to prove or to go hunt and bring something home as a worth. And now that value system is changing and shifting, and definitely in America, and it's going to catch on around the world as women are stepping into power. So, and I think that's a great thing. I actually believe that's a very worthy thing to be occurring. And the reason I believe that, I think, is women are the best leaders in the world. Women have always been the greatest leader in the world. They've raised men. They have raised, they have nurtured and loved and cared and created that. So I think this is something that was my biggest challenge, is to let go of an old paradigm, to step into a new paradigm, and to serve my wife, to serve our clientele, to serve my family. And let me just say,
and to know where you fit,
and to know where I fit in that game, and to bring my value.
Enough.
Exactly.
Yeah. And to make it good enough. Like, our company wouldn't be where it is if it wasn't for Ash. Now, like, a vulnerable conversation behind closed doors is, we were having a conversation even last night where I was like, I want to really go. And I'm like, you want to hold this piece and run with me? If not, I'm going to hire somebody. Do you know what I mean? To take over that division. And that's a hard conversation to have with your spouse. But, like, now he gets to choice, right? And he gets to make a choice and say, like, I know there's nobody better than you, but the question is, do you want to lean in for the next few years and build out like what you built out in corporate America for people that it wasn't your company, it wasn't your family, it wasn't your brand. Do you know what I mean? Can you find that purpose in that? Go or not. But like ladies and men, whoever, like whatever the dynamic looks like, you can't slow down what you know is right because a partner is or isn't on board. And I think that's really important because, people might judge us because like people say, you guys work a lot. Yeah, but I take off the last week of every month. Do you know what I mean? Like find me another entrepreneur that takes off 7 days in a month, right? So when my family's like, you work too much, I'm like, you can plan something with, you're retired. You can plan something with me the last week of every single month. I guarantee you could probably get 6 weeks out of the year if you said, let's do something. Right. But what happens is we sit in this conversation of judging. So now take it back to when I started. Nobody judged me when I started. Do you know what they did? I'm worried about you. You're struggling. Financially, you can't pay for things. You're stressed out all the time. Yeah, that's called entrepreneurship. Now where I'm standing is they're like, I want a new house. I want can you buy me a $1,000 iPhone? Like sending groceries to my point is like, I take care of my parents now and I'm preparing to take care of his parents. And we even this wasn't even him pushing this. I've got in our will and estate planning, his sister and his sister, really his sister's son, Luca, right? Baby Luca. It won't be baby for much longer.
No.
Baby Zach, baby Luca. But my point is everybody's thankful when you're there in the end and you're the generous one that's there to make a difference for the family, right? But in the build, a lot of people like to judge. But the truth is that like nobody can judge us because of the fact that we actually have a lot of space. But the 3 weeks out of the month, we're stacked between our son's karate, horseback riding, his homeschooling, our stuff, our events. We have 2 to 3 events every single month. Plus we have fulfillment events on top. We are stacked, right? And honestly, you shouldn't put HCL ever in the last week of the month. Do you know what I mean? But that's him planning that. Do you know what I'm saying? But my schedule is always the last week of the month open, so I sit back and go, I'm pretty consistent, guys. Like so you got to build these systems in because people will judge. And when you can step back and say, I'm sorry, you can't judge me because I've put the systems in place to have lots of fun and family. And if you want to create things in different weeks and you don't want to work with me as a partnership, then I'll go hiking with my girlfriend. Or I'll go to Lee's place in Maui and go hang out with my girlfriend.
She invite us over next week.
I love it. I love it. So, I mean, really what you're saying is the challenge is to create your life and your business in a way that works for you and not necessarily for anybody else.
You can't, because you can't fit into what everybody else wants, Monica. Do you know my she'll probably watch this, my luck. My stepmom says to me the other day, she goes, you don't answer email. I don't do my business on email. I shop in email, but I don't do my business in email because have you checked your email today, Monica? It probably has a lot of there's probably a lot in there. It's delete. Oh, open this up. Oh, I missed that bill. Oh, you know what I mean? Like delete. And 2 hours later, you're still like, you finally cleaned out your inbox and it's daily like that. So my stepmom says to me, you don't answer your email. I would like you to create an email for your family. I went, I would never check it. I go, just text me. You text me, I will call you right back as soon as I'm off the call. You know what I mean? Like I never not return a text, but like people will keep trying to put you into their mold. Meanwhile, like in my, we love our parents, by the way, they're all incredibly awesome human beings.
And we have great relationships with them.
Yeah, we have great relationships with them, but it's a great example how your family, the people you love the most, can put so much pressure on you because they're judging what you should do. And this happens in marriages. You should change. No, you should change. No, you should change. It's like, no, like you've got to grab a hold of something, make it right, listen to the feedback. I created space in my life so that I could be with people I love. And if they're not available during that time, I don't know what to tell you, because I can't fit into everybody's schedule and actually not have a nervous breakdown with running 3 companies. You know what I'm saying?
Of course, that's fantastic advice. What do you think is the most important lesson you've learned about juggling the demands of marriage, family life, and entrepreneurship?
I'm so curious to hear your answer on this. You better answer it right.
Why don't you go ahead? Why don't you go ahead on this one? I know you'll give a quick answer.
Takes the safe route out.
Well, I got to put you on the stage on this one, so go for it.
Okay, so we're still working on this, and okay, so actually, I'll say from like a girl who every guy in my life, father figure, has always disappointed me. You know, learning how, like, I had a moment in church the other day where he was crying and tithing, and he tithed like 20 grand the other day. And then I saw you tithing 2 grand. I don't know if you tithed it or not, but I saw you tithing 2 grand. And I know from his history, being Persian and coming to America, like,
with nothing,
hoarding is like a thing, right? Like, don't throw any food away. Don't, like, it's like a thing, right? It's in his, and he's breaking it in his bloodline. And so as I was watching him have tears in his eyes, 2 times tithing, I just had a moment where I was like, thank you, God, like, you're working with him. Like, I can trust you have a relationship with him. You're working in his heart. I don't have to worry about him. You know what I mean? Because as his wife, I believe that, like, there's one way to heaven. I actually believe that. And I choose to believe that because I don't want to be a seeker. You know what I mean? Like, if there's anything I've learned about entrepreneurship, it doesn't serve you to, like, be all over the place. You're much more likely to succeed by just saying, I'm just going to have faith in this one direction and go all in. Right. And you're going to be challenged no matter what, but all in is a lot easier than kind of sort of everywhere. So I took that approach with my faith, and I was like, I am 100% all in on Christianity. Like, love it, right? Spirituality, not religious, and religion is a bad word, unfortunately, but spirituality, not religious, was just, the new agey was just too random. Do you know what I mean? Like, nobody was really grounded in anything. And that created a lot of pain. And I see a lot of really unfortunate advice being given when all that stuff was pulled out of scripture, right? So, like, all laws of attraction, all that stuff is actually rooted in scripture. So no different than, Monica, if somebody tells me something about you, I should just go to you and find out, because you're the source. That's how I think about faith. So having the faith that, like I would worry about him not being in his depth in his scripture when he wants to, and just watching him have the call and not go all in, I would worry about that. And I would pray for him. And he doesn't know all this, right? But, like, I would actually physically, I think a lot of women can experience this. You might think of it like, guys might think of it like you're trying to change them, but you are really just, like, worried about them because you love them.
No,
And
you're trying to change just a little bit. I'm just kidding.
You're pulling the tension.
I get that. I hear you.
So anyway, so that's like, having faith in that is a really big deal, because I want my son to know who God is. My son idolizes him. I worry about that. And like the other day, I was like, okay, like, you got them. And I can have a relationship with my son, and I can be the person that stewards that in his life and be the example for him if I spend more time. You know what I mean? Which is my 30-day commitment this month. Right. So anyway, so
I could jump in on this one.
And dating each other, meetings.
Yes. So important.
Yeah, I'll jump in on this one. Okay, so there's some practical pieces, and some, like, of it is esoteric and out there. For me, it's faith. For me, like,
and,
she's
Monica, just to also say this, we have like 3-4 minutes. I'm gonna have to jump.
Okay.
So I'll jump on the faith piece, and it's there was a time that I felt that, Shanda needed to change in the relationship, because we're different. I'm more of an analytical and, think through things, and the way I go about life is very entrepreneurship, corporate organization, grow it massively, but do it very slowly, methodically, etc.
And I'm like, do that in our company.
Yeah, but and the difference is the conversation of entrepreneurs do it now, and a conversation of a guy like me is it takes a approach. It's a strategy. It's a process, and so some of it, and that's what makes us work so well as a company. That's why we grow at a rate that we grow in. So that's what works about us. But I also have faith in Shanda, in that I had to learn this thing to basically hold the space for her growth and my own personal growth versus trying to get it now. It's like hold the space for her growth and my growth. And then the second piece of that is the practical piece of this is, it's not easy to run a family, to be a dad, to be a companion, and to also be a co-owner in building something greater, especially when two people see it differently. And so you'll never do it right. So the most important person to hold space for is yourself, and then reconnect yourself to what's working, and being present to what's working, what's not working, so you can fill the opportunities and really expand yourself. And that's the greatest lesson I've learned. And I'm still listening, just this morning, I learned a great lesson in that I got to be more intimate with my calendar. Because our life has expanded to a point where I've gotten comfortable, and the only way to break that comfort zone is to get more intimate with my calendar, so I could compress time, so I can compress my energy and compress my resources. So that's my thoughts.
Oh, so great. Okay. So last question, but what did the two of you specifically do to separate work from family and marriage?
To separate is, I don't do work conversations after 4 o'clock. So that's it. Like that's just in a nutshell. He will try and push that boundary sometimes. He's gotten a lot better at it. And so I think now he's learning how to use the Voxer app, that when he has things pop through his mind after the 4 o'clock mark, he can send me a Voxer message. That's so awesome. It doesn't come on my cell phone, and then I can pick it up when I'm in work tomorrow, because he can work. He's kind of more of a night person. And for me, I've been up since 1 o'clock in the morning already. Right. So that's not normal. Like 4 is normal, but I don't want to be talking work at 4 o'clock, because then I don't sleep. Because my brain, I'm an entrepreneur, my brain will go for hours afterwards. Yeah. Your answer?
So for me, it's like, I don't think there's a right way to do that. For me, it's different. I can work 24/7. I believe that my life is got to be a messy pizza. Shanda believes it needs to be different. Cheese should be on this side and all the toppings should be on the other side. So for me, I don't dissect things. I like it to be messy. That's just the way I choose it. But I've learned what's key when you're a couple like this, especially two strong, powerful, results-driven couple like she and I are, you got to learn how to work with your partner. So for me, I know I'm messy, and we've just recently actually discovered that Voxer is a great way, because I could dump my ideas at any time of night and I don't forget them anymore into the Voxer. She could listen to it at her leisure. And I used to have a story that, oh my gosh, you're trying to be this, da, 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 da. And I had to crush that story to go into the space of like, there's a way to work this out.
Awesome.
I love it so much. And I will tell the listeners where they can find you. Thank you so, so, so much for your time. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend.
Thank you, Monica. You're awesome. Appreciate you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
To learn more ways to deepen your intimacy and strengthen your relationship, make sure you watch this video next.